Hey everybody, it is Mike Young. We are back with chapter 2 of the book. Let's give a quick review. Chapter 1, if you want to go back and take a look at it, is entitled Food, and it's just about food in general. And of course, we had a preface and an introduction before that. So this is chapter 2. And basically, this one, I haven't settled on the final title of this chapter, but it's basically begin early, start early. Start early, I like that. And the importance of starting early, because as you know from the title of the book, obviously the V book, and what we said up to this point so far, the goal is to live to 150, not just live, but really enjoy life, really have fun. Don't live in a downward spiral of declining misery. And we're going to give you all kinds of tips. And first chapter, talking about the food, just let you know how important that really is. If you don't know, go back and watch and listen to that chapter. You can just listen to it if you want. Same as like a podcast or something. Listen to the importance of food. But as amazing and as impactful as that chapter is, chapter 1, one of the other things that might really end up impacting people in a negative way is not starting early enough. Because what happens is, when the body is sick, it can only take so much, just like any living organism, right? You can only take so much. And I call it abuse. I'll use that word here a lot because I say that treating your own body badly is probably the most underreported form of abuse there is. And it's totally legal. That's the thing. It's not totally acceptable, actually, in most cultures. Completely acceptable to abuse your body. In fact, many times you're congratulated. But the problem is that if you have continual abuse, that after a certain amount of time, even though the body is a self-repairing, self-healing machine for the most part when given the right conditions, as long as you're willing to give up what's making you sick, if you get to a certain point with some types of illnesses, you're not going to be able to reverse. You will have already abused too much. You will have pushed the body too far, and it's just not going to recover. It's just not going to be able to do it. And we don't want that to happen. And I can't tell you where that is. That's the other thing. That varies from person to person. It's very much based on you as an individual. Just like how two people are the same. No two people have the same tolerance to different levels of bad treatment and abuse. At some point, and you're not sharing ideas with your cells in your body inside, unfortunately. Well, you probably are, but at least at this point in society, at this point in human development, we haven't even gotten to that point where we can share that information. So they're kind of doing their own thing in there while we're out here doing our own thing, what we feel like is important. A lot of times they don't match up. Actually, many times they don't match up. And that's why people get sick, because things get out of balance and we're not talking to ourselves. We're not listening to our body. And with certain things, it's just once it gets too far, it's irreparable. Not only is it irreparable, but it becomes a downward spiral that is not able to be mitigated in any way. All right, so that you've got to understand it. And hopefully this chapter is going to give you enough motivation, or the needed motivation, to be able to recognize the importance of starting early. And starting as early as you can. And it can't be too early, but it can be too late. That's, if you remember one thing from this chapter, that's it. It's never too early to start, but it might be too late to start. However, the thing is, at least in the society that we're in right now, unless you have a diagnosed, like a late stage illness, because many illnesses, depending on what you're talking about, Alzheimer's, cancer, whatever, have different stages. You may get to a point where they say it's not reversible. But even that is not necessarily true, because there have been reports of late stage illnesses that have been reversed. But I don't want to give anybody any false hope. That's the point of this chapter. I'm not going to give you false hope. I'm going to give you things that are known, like I said, through my experience and my knowledge and my own lifetime of, I'm 51 when I'm making this video here right now, born in 1970. I want to let you know what's going on. It'll be funny to review this thing in another 50 years or so and see how times have changed. And it'll actually be neat to see that. But for now, you've got to start early. You've got to, because your life depends on it. You only get one life. And if you don't mind risking rolling the dice and putting it on the line, betting the farm, then I guess you don't. But the chances of that working out is so slim. And I said this before, it's like basing your retirement on winning the lottery. It's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. It's almost certainly not going to happen. I can't say for an absolute one way or the other, but I can say start as early as possible. That's what you want to do. You don't want to delay. And I think I've thought of all the different ways I can say that here for chapter 2. I don't think there's anything else I can add to that right now. And if you think of something, put it in the comments. Let me know, what's a motivating factor? Because I'd say that the problem in the world right now, the problem in society right now is that we can't convey things properly to most people that would get them to just go ahead and change their entire lifestyle right now and end all the bad habits, all the abuse. We can't do that. We're not at a point. The kind of stuff we're talking about in this book, in this V-book, is not mainstream. That's the problem. I'm very hopeful that it will be mainstream soon, just like with plant-based stuff and plant-based eating, right? A couple of years ago, you were a freak if that's what you were doing. Now it's almost mainstream. Just eating plants. Oh, okay, you eat plants, no problem. You don't eat that animal stuff, that's fine. It didn't used to be like that a few years ago. We're in 2021 right now. And I see the same thing with this. I hope a lot more changes actually have to happen for this, but I hope that it will change. But write in the comments, what can you say? What can you do? I want to hear from you as someone who has someone who is struggling with their lifestyle, which is everyone out there pretty much. We know that. What can you say and what can you do? And as another part of this, if you've done something that has worked and definitely has worked, what did you do? Tell us in the comments. This will help everybody out who's watching this video. And again, the most important thing here is that we want to start early. We want to start as early as we can. We don't want to make it seem like it's okay because we know what happens. I mean, it's not okay for a number of reasons. It's hard because I don't know, either people will feel like they're being judged or they'll feel like you think you're better than me or something. I don't even know, or whatever you're saying is a bunch of BS. There's actually, let us know in the comments too. What have people said when you try to get them? You try to encourage them. Like, okay, come on, I want you to do this. What have they said? What do people come back to you with? Let us know about that in the comments too. Hopefully this will be like a really good, just a workshop for new ideas, because we're going to have so many more chapters in this book. And this one, if you don't get this one, then all the rest of the chapters will be almost irrelevant if you don't start early enough. Unless we get to a point in society where we have somehow developed some cures that are almost miracles. But I don't think it's going to happen personally. I think that these so-called miracle cures we already know them, and they involve this type of a lifestyle that I'm conveying to you in this book, which is mostly surrounded with the food. But it's not exclusively to the food, just mostly. So that's it for this chapter. And I look forward to any other comments you have too from me. And by all means, please subscribe if you're not subscribing to this channel already, and share this video with anybody that needs to see it. It's always going to be better if this information is delivered to you, if this information makes sense to you, if it's going to be delivered by somebody else other than you. A lot of times that's the problem. And maybe that'll be already said in the comments, is that they're not going to hear it from you. They'll hear it from somebody else, but not you. So this could be that vehicle for that. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. And I will talk to you soon in chapter 3. Bye-bye.